Morning.
Mr. Chairman, identity theft is a significant and growing problem in the United States. The question before us is not whether to deal with the problem, but how to deal with it. The Chairman proposes that we mandate the use of E-Verify without otherwise reforming our immigration laws, but that will only make matters worse. Rather than prevent identity theft, an expansion of E-Verify without more will aggravate the problem while costing taxpayers billions, harming agriculture and other industries. It's important that we're mindful of how we got here. It might surprise some of you to hear this, but Congress played a significant role in actually creating this problem, and it's for us to learn from that history. In 1986, in an attempt to restrict illegal immigration, Congress enacted the new employment restrictions in IRCA, and these provisions actually for the first time made it illegal to employ undocumented immigrants. It also created the need for workers to show employers identity and work authorization documents. Before IRCA, businesses were not required to check, and document fraud was not therefore a problem. But IRCA changed that, creating a new market for fake Social Security cards and other documents that could be used to complete the I-9 forms. As we now know, the biggest problem with IRCA was that it cracked down on unauthorized employment without ensuring that agriculture and other industries had access to authorized labor. Basically, it created penalties to address a symptom of a broken immigration system, but it did nothing to actually fix the immigration problem itself. In doing so, IRCA created a market for false documents and ensured that such a market would grow with the nation's economy. In 1996, Congress then doubled down with the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act. Among other things, the bill created the basic pilot program now known as E-Verify. The authors said it would prevent document fraud because, unlike I-9 system created by IRCA, E-Verify could not be fooled by fake Social Security numbers. But once again, this law, did nothing to provide for the legal flow of workers needed by our economy. So employers and workers began to seek ways to obtain information that could fool E-Verify. Thus, rather than drive down document fraud, E-Verify created a new and much worse problem, identity theft, for the purpose of obtaining employment. The bill's authors said it would stop illegal immigration, but undocumented immigrants came in even larger numbers, and the problems associated with unauthorized employment only grew. As E-Verify use increased, so did identity theft. That's because E-Verify cannot catch identity theft. In one DHS Commission study, 54% of the undocumented workers run through the system were confirmed as work authorized by E-Verify. Those were the ones using other people's identities. In Arizona, where E-Verify is mandated by state law, employers have helped to procure false identities for their unauthorized workers. This is the history that we have to contend with. Those who created E-Verify are now asking us to ignore that history and again trust that their enforcement-only solutions will work. Previous attempts to tighten the enforcement screws without fixing the system have led to more damaging results, but this time they promise things will be different. This time they say they have a bill that will stop identity theft, but we should all know better. Our system is fundamentally broken. For decades, it has failed to provide legal pathways for American industries like agriculture to meet their labor needs. If we now tighten the enforcement screws yet again, without fixing the system, we're just going to drive a new and more pernicious form of fraud. That's the lesson we must heed from history. The Chairman's bill may also drive off-the-books employment and closure of American businesses. According to a 2010 GAO report, employers seeking to get around E-Verify are increasingly misclassifying workers as independent contractors or moving them off the books entirely. The Chairman's bill does nothing to prevent such arrangements from accelerating, even though they lead to lower wages, fewer worker protections, and significant reductions in tax revenues. And let's not forget that the CBO estimates that mandatory E-Verify would cost $17.3 billion in lost tax revenues over 10 years as employers and employees move to the underground economy. At the same time, Chairman Smith's bill does nothing to prevent economic damage to the industries that rely most on undocumented workers. After all the hearings we've had on this issue, this Congress, this subcommittee should by now know that the Chairman's bill would hurt American farmers. Mandatory E-Verify without reform of the immigration system would mean more American farms going under, a less secure America, and the offshoring of jobs, including upstream and downstream American jobs supported by agriculture. Make no mistake about it, one-sided solutions, such as the Chairman's mandatory E-Verify proposal, are a big part of how we got into this mess, and history tells us they'll only make things worse. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.